for blood. Better run, better run. 'Cause here it comes, here it comes. Better run when the wolves come out to play.
Hello guys, hope you're all well. This is Dan from the Wolfpack. Today we're going to be talking about the most recent press conference just gone for Nottingham Forest, everything that Gary had to say. We're just going to bring up all of Liam Keane's quotes from the press conference. If you don't know who Liam Keane is, he works for Express and Star. He is a really, really good news reporter, specialising in all things Wolves. So please, if you haven't already, give him a follow. He is really, really pivotal for all of the things that we need to know directly about Wolves. Anyway, the press conference started and they definitely didn't mess about. They started off with the FA charge for Gary O'Neill. Now, if you didn't know, Gary O'Neill has been charged by the FA regarding all of the incidents that happened following the West Ham game at home at Molineux. We've already talked about that game to absolute great lengths, and if you haven't, please go and check out our match review of that game. And also that includes a giant rant about VAR, so we won't be doing that on this video, but if you do need to see any of those things, there's that video. But yes, the FA charge. He says, it's probably best for me not to comment until the process is complete. That's probably quite sensible, to be fair. We've seen it with Nuno in the past, where in press conferences regarding things of the nature of punishments from the FA regarding behaviour and everything, it's always pretty good to just keep a tight lip on a situation after things have already accelerated. So that was really good from Gary O'Neill. We then had a conversation about VAR. He says, you can feel it nationally. There's a lot of frustrations around some of the decisions. It's not been all bad, but there's a desire from everyone for the standards to improve. Now, I said we weren't going to talk about VAR, but we'll just talk about briefly about what he's trying to talk about there. He's basically saying that it's not just Wolves that are affected by VAR, and I've seen quite a lot of people come out and say that we're always saying stuff about VAR all the time, and it's always Wolves, you know. But honestly, it's hard not to think like that when you have so many decisions not go your way and very little decisions go your way. It's really difficult not to feel aggrieved like that when it comes to VAR. So yeah. And he said it's been all bad. It's not been all bad, but there's a desire from everyone for the standard to improve, and that's just it. I don't think anyone's saying that VAR is a bad idea. I just think that, and everyone else thinks that it should just improve basically across the board, in its speed, in its accuracy. The people that are on there need to improve, maybe more training, or just a lot of things need to improve. And the thing that I think disappoints everyone the most is the fact that it's in a league that's like supposed to be the best in the world, you know. And if it's the best in the world, then it should have the best sort of technology at the helm of all these decisions. And to be fair, it's really not just recently. Liam Keane says, welcome semi-auto offsides. He says, I think so, depending on the accuracy. I've spoken to Howard Webb a lot on the accuracy this season and give him my views on it. Hopefully this is part of the improvement. So this is regarding the new semi-auto offside thing that will be coming next season. If you don't know much about it, basically the offside sort of technology that they used in the recent international games, mainly the World Cup in Qatar, it was very, very good because it's sort of, it gave you a lot of more insight and more knowledge into what player was offside, how far were they offside. There was no stupid lines or anything. You saw a transparent image of how far a player was offside for it to be deemed as so. And I think a lot of it is very much run by AI. So the accuracy of AI and human beings, obviously, AI is always going to come out on top. So if you want to hear my opinion of semi-auto offsides, I think it's a great idea. But as Gary said, we just want the accuracy to obviously, show some improvement. And if it's going to do that through semi-auto offsides, then go for it. On points lost to VAR, he says, I don't blame anyone else but us. There will be many clubs that could claim that they would be higher without certain decisions. My concern with Saturday's decision is that it's still deemed by the officials to be correct. And I think that's just... There's a few things in there that I want to talk about. He says that he doesn't blame anyone but us for VAR. I disagree with that completely. There's been a lot of times in the Premier League this season, and probably before this, but very, very much so this season, where Wolves have had some awful decisions. And I genuinely think that the only thing that you can really blame are the people behind the screens at VAR and the officiating in general for just not getting the right decision on the day and then apologizing about it the next day. Not good enough. So I don't really agree with that. But as we said right at the start, he's probably just trying to sort of not come across too crybaby about the situation because of all of the fines that are coming out. And it's so stupid how Gary O'Neill's getting fined for essentially backing his corner. You, as a player, if you've done a bad job, yeah, say you're a goalkeeper, yeah, and you've let in a howler, you're going to expect people to come up to you and say you've done a bad job today, yeah. With a manager, for example, we had a bad loss against Coventry. You expect the manager to say that we weren't good enough, and etc., and things should improve. And if people come up to you and say, well, you weren't good enough, blah blah blah, you can only just say, yeah, you're right, you're correct, we weren't. We weren't up to the task, and the job we did wasn't good enough. Why is it that referees don't have this prejudice at all? You can't go up to a referee and say, oh, by the way, you weren't good enough today. You know why you can't do that? Because if you do that, then you get told that you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get fined, or, all these silly things. If you are aggressive towards a referee in the heat of a moment, in a game in which really depended very, very much so, on the West Ham game I'm talking about, very much so on the future of Wolves in Europe this season, you are going to get it from the manager, and you're going to get it from the player staff if you're getting a decision wrong. You cannot expect people to be like, just hold it back and just not even talk to you about a situation they don't agree with. I don't agree with any violence of sorts, but come on, man. You're a full-grown bloke. If someone's coming up to you and is, just angry and is angry about a situation that you've not got correct, then I'm sorry, you deserve to be talked to the way in that manner, because you shouldn't be in a job where you're making decisions to that extent with all of the backing of people in a room in Stockley Park with cameras everywhere, apart from Anfield, that can pick up every movement in slow motion, but yet you still get it wrong. I don't understand. That's the thing, isn't it? You've got all this technology, but you still get the wrong answer. So therefore, I completely agree with everybody from the Wolves background that have completely just said to the referee that they're bang out of order and that it should be, a different outcome. So the whole FA charge is just absolutely ridiculous. I've spoken to Howard Webb about the proximity to the goalkeeper, but there's nothing in the rules about that. It's important that things are clear. We should have a good idea what's coming next with VAR. He says, I thought VAR would definitely help, but I do feel it can either get better or just go back to where we were with on-field decisions. I'm not sure we've improved the entertainment factor. And that's just it, isn't it? The entertainment factor is in the toilet. People are thinking about not even renewing their season tickets. Coming from a season that we've just had, you would really expect Wolves fans to be really happy with how we've handled some awful situations and a terrible hand of cards. But VAR has ruined that, and officiating has ruined that, and all of that goes into it takes too long. It's ruining celebrations for everybody. So, you're literally going to games and not really even knowing if you should celebrate, which is just ridiculous. So I get about the him scrutinising the fact that it's destroying the entertainment factor. He says he's spoken about the proximity to the goalkeeper, but there's no rule about that. And this is the thing, isn't it? That this is what they get away with, you see. Because there's no rule about it, there's no official guideline about it, then it can't be. What happened to common sense? What happened to just common sense? If it's not in a book, oh my God, it doesn't exist. Like, come on, man. So you're telling me every single rule has to be in writing somewhere? Has to be. No matter how, outlandish it is. You're telling me basically what you're saying is you're just going to write it every time there's a rule that isn't written down. You're going to write it down so that if it happens again, you can say, well, it's in the rule book. But you're not going to do that. You're just going to assume. You're just going to use that as an excuse because it's not in the rule book, and then go ahead and if it happens again, just say it's not in the rule book. It doesn't make any sense, does it, guys? To be honest, and this is the thing. The communication between the officiating and the people in charge of our clubs is just absolutely shocking. It is absolutely terrible. Honest to God. They're so arrogant with it as well. Like I saw after the West Ham game, they were so arrogant handing out those yellow cards to players that were just absolutely adamant that the decision that had just gone against their team was wrong. Like, come on, man. What do you expect? Just people to go, well, yeah, it is my livelihood and it is what puts food on the table for my kids. But you know what? It's fine because, you're a referee and you're protected in bubble wrap. And it's just ridiculous. Like, come on, man. Have some decency and some courtesy and some bollocks. Where are we? On Forest, it's an incredibly tough game. They will feel they have a really good chance, especially with the players we have missing. I'm surprised that they are where they are in the league. They have a really strong squad. To be fair, I know that John's obviously going to talk about the Forest preview and everything, so I won't go too far in depth with it. But they are a really good squad, Forest. They bought some players that would definitely strengthen their side. They definitely bought some players that have shown that they probably deserved a better run in with their previous clubs. like Hudson Odoi, for example, Wood, Morgan Gibbs-White, all these players that have come from teams that are in the same league as them, but have basically been told that they're not good enough for their respective clubs, or they've been sold on because clubs have needed to make money for finance reasons and whatever. And what I've liked about Forest is they've sort of took those players and moulded them into a system which has kept them in the Premier League for the last few years. So I do honestly think that Forest have a good squad. If you look at their squad, they have a very, very good squad. Like Alanga's a good player. They have a good squad. So I'm not expecting an easy game at all by any stretch. I'm familiar with the incredible work he did here. This is regarding Nuno. The journey and the fans are a fantastic journey, and the fans are very fond of him. He's an excellent coach and has showed some good signs at Forest. Yeah, Nuno, I mean, if you're a Forest fan watching this, Nuno made me fall in love with Wolves again, genuinely. I've always been a Wolves fan, regardless of division, regardless of anything. But Nuno really enforced something in me with Wolves, and I just thought we were unbeatable for a time before COVID. I just thought we were unbeatable, and Nuno was really the catalyst of what made that happen. So you're in really good hands with Nuno. I think he was entreated fairly at Tottenham. They just didn't give him the time. I think if he had time with the players that they've started to put into their team now, I think he'd have been really good at Tottenham, and I think he's doing a decent job at Forest. That I don't think any manager, no matter who you are, is gonna get better results than what Nuno has been able to get. And what I've been really impressed with is that Nuno's managed to keep a huge squad, relatively small in size from the ones that he uses as his first team 11 and he substitutes. And we already knew that as Wolves fans that Nuno liked a small squad. So it's interesting that he's got a huge squad, but he keeps it relatively small. So yeah, I find that really interesting, and I do think that's helped Forest as well, because I just feel like he was a really good manager, your previous manager, but I just think that you had so many players he was trying to fit into a mold that no one was gelling, because they just didn't have enough game time with one another. Whereas I think Nuno's kind of just gone, look, we might lose games, but we have to stick with an 11 so that they gel together and find cohesion. Because if you don't have that, then you're just hoping. Every game you're just hoping. There's no progression forward at all. You just I hope we don't lose this. That's the main thing. And that's not really a way to live in the Premier League at all. You have to go about every game. Regardless of if you lose, you have to at least show up and compete. And that was Nuno's favourite word, wasn't it? Compete. Team news. Hee-chan is in the matchday squad. Fantastic for us. Cunha is still fine. Dawson is 2. Probably too early for Bellegarde. Ryan will travel with the group. He's had a minor issue even. But I envisage him being part of the matchday squad. So really good news there. First of all, Hee-chan being back in the squad is absolutely enormous. He's still our top goal scorer, by the way, even though he's been injured for God knows how long. At one point, he was just scoring for fun, and it would be really, really amazing to see him do that for the rest of the season. He is a player for me that just knows where the back of the net is. He's really clever. He can cut back and take a defender out of the equation completely, and then really find it in him to nestle a ball away with out any really struggle. And I think that's what we've lacked for a long time. And it's not anyone's fault. You know, we've had kids in the squad, and you know, they've done all they can, you know, and that's all that we could ask for. But now Hwang's back. Hopefully he can find the net, and that would be really good. Obviously Cunha being back's great. Hopefully he looks a bit better than he did against West Ham. Looked a bit leggy for me, and no fault of his own. He's just trying to find game time again. Dawson, I'm on the fence about Craig Dawson. I really am, because Wolves fans are so funny. They go back and forward with our defenders. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, Totti Gomez is the best defender in the world. How have we got so lucky? Oh my God, and he's the worst. Oh my God, Kilman is like the best. Like, how is he not playing for England? Oh my God, Kilman, can we sell him to Man United, please? Oh my God, Dawson, what a player. How is he still as good as he is? Oh my God, Dawson is so slow. We need to get rid of him. It's like, it's so funny. But what I really, really like about Dawson, even if, yes, he's not the fastest defender, what I like about him when he's in your back line, he gives you a lot of leadership qualities. He gives you a voice as well. I love Kilman. Don't get me wrong, I do. As a player, when he wants to play and he's in good form, he's a really good player. But his leadership qualities are dreadful, guys. It has to be said. I haven't seen him grab a game by the scruff of the neck ever since he got the captain's armband from Neves. I've not seen him do it once. And when you're in the sort of position that we've found ourselves in just recently with our form, you need a player with some leadership to address the situation. Yeah, okay, I might not see it because it's all saved for the dressing room. But my question then is, why is it only saved for the dressing room? Because it should be on the pitch as well. I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that Neves and Cody only saved their leadership qualities for the dressing room. That's bullshit. That is actual bullshit. And I'll tell you how I know that. If you watch any game during the COVID season, you can hear Cody over anybody, okay? If you watch games where Cody wasn't available and Neves took charge instead, you can hear him over anybody. And I know what you're thinking. Well, it was during COVID. You'd probably hear Kilman as well. I don't think you would, man. I don't think you would at all. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he ain't a leader. Not for me. So, Dawson being back, I honestly would play him over Kilman. Genuinely. I would like to see a back five with Totti Gomez, Dawson, and Santi Bueno. I genuinely would. Because Kilman just recently has been one of our weakest players. He's been one of those players where I think opposition are watching and going, we can exploit that player. And for me, that is dangerous. And if you're saying, well, okay, where's the evidence in that? Look at all of the goals recently that we've had against us and tell me, is Kilman doing enough to prevent those goals? You'll find some, I'm sure. I'm sure you will find some. But there is a lot in which he is just running back like a headless chicken and just hoping that the attacker goes the same way as him. Because if they don't, that he is done for. Straight away, done for. If they catch him on his standing foot, he's gone. Because he can't turn fast enough. And you could say, well, yeah, Dawson can't either. But you know what Dawson does that Kilman doesn't? He stays back and allows quicker players to get forward. Kilman doesn't do that. He'll run forward. He does it all the time. He'll literally run forward, get you up the pitch, which is what you want to see. I love that from Kilman. I do love that quality about him. But if you're going to do that, you have to get back if the transition doesn't work. And he doesn't. He doesn't get back fast enough. And if you've not got that quality in order to find that bit of pace to get back, then don't do it. Don't get forward. Allow Totti Gomez to do it. Allow Santi Bueno to do it. Don't do it. Just stay back. Just be like the Cody role, the quarterback Cody role. Don't do something that you aren't able to do. He's not quick enough. Neither is Dawson. But Dawson keeps his head and stays back. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Dawson, for me, he'll sit back, do his thing. He might make mistakes in that, but he won't make anywhere near as many mistakes as Kilman. Genuinely. And I'd give him the captain armband as well. Or Lamina. One of the two. About Bellegarde as well. I'm actually happy if we get to see Bellegarde again. Because he hasn't had enough game time to be able to really lay a glove on this league whatsoever. And I tell you why. Because every time he has played, he's played as a winger, and that's not his position. So people are going, oh, well, you know, he should play there, and if he plays there, he should do well. Well, okay, look at Lamina. You put him in his actual position, he's unbeatable, and one of the best DMs in the world. I'm saying serious. You put him on the wing, he's average at best. So what is the difference with Bellegarde when he is an attacking midfielder and you're putting him out wide and expecting him to be Neto? Or you're expecting him to be a winger like Hwang or someone? You can't do that. Over time, yes. But you can't expect a player that's not in that position to then just play that position and play it that well that he's as good as the likes of an actual winger. It's like, okay, you put Hwang in our midfield and see how we do. We'd be awful. Spoilers. Because he's not his position. In terms of Ryan travelling with the group, when Ryan went off the other day, I actually thought that it was a precaution thing, and I didn't even for a second think anything of it at all, other than we need to rest him because he's absolutely blowing out his ass and he needs a rest. And if that is the case, great. But apparently he's had a scan, so there's definitely something up. And Gary's saying that it's a minor issue, and he's saying that he'll be in the max squad. We've heard this before, haven't we? Who does this sound familiar about? Pedro Neto had the exact same thing happen. He had a scan, and they said, oh, no, everything's fine. Play him. We played him, and he was injured, and he still is. I am slightly worried that that's what we're going to do against Ryan again. So if my opinion, I would bench him and I'd play him for a little bit of time at the end if we need someone to get up and down the wing. But do not start this kid. If he's even a little bit unfit, we can't afford to lose him. We cannot afford to lose him at all. Because he has been one of the best players this season. And I tell you what, this is a hindsight thing. If Gary starts Ryan Aït-Nouri tomorrow and he gets injured, I will be very, very concerned. Because I thought the Neto thing was a bit like, oh, it is what it is. It's a different injury. The scan didn't really equate to anything. But I swear, if he gets injured tomorrow, Ryan Aït-Nouri, after starting a game, we should be concerned about our medical team, because that would be 2 in a row where they've had a scan and something's gone wrong. If it doesn't happen, then it was just one of those oddities, and that's fair enough. And that's what I think it is. I think that Neto situation was an oddity. But yes, that is where the press conference ended. But I am going to just bring up something real quick about Ryan Aït-Nouri's injury. Apparently, Ryan Aït-Nouri has a 50% chance. Nothing too significant in there. He'll travel with the group. We'll name the team in the morning, which gives him another day to see how he's feeling. Couple of scans this week just to make sure anything we're doing with him isn't making it worse, and to make sure it's heading in the right direction. It's fairly normal if someone has something minor and you're considering to get them to work with that to make sure there's no real risk of getting any worse. They were normal checks for Ryan. It's the same calf he felt against West Ham. The scan was really good. No real muscle damage, just swelling that needed to be managed. Hwang Hee-chan is a 50% chance as well. Jean-Rick Bellegarde is a 0% chance, and so is Pedro Neto. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. But it's nice to know that a 50% chance of Hwang is really good, actually. I honestly thought, guys, talking about Hwang, because that's probably going to be the biggest thing ever tomorrow if he does play. I honestly thought with Hwang, when I saw him go off against Brighton in the Cup, he looked injured when we started the game. And I think the Asian Cup just completely took it out of him. They played him over and over and over again. And apparently they didn't get much time in warm-ups either. So, yeah. Interesting. But yes, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you like this kind of video. This is a new sort of video series that I'm thinking about making, which is obviously talking about press conferences or news that comes out about Wolves and stuff. If you did like it, please feel free to like the video, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one in a bit.